By the time retreat was still possible, it was already unthinkable. Alexander the Great did not march east because conditions favored him. He marched because his mind had already closed the alternative. The world remembers the speed of his conquests. What mattered more was the speed with which his inner options collapsed. Alexander was not raised to explore choices. He was raised to fulfill a trajectory. His father, Philip II of Macedon, did not train him to inherit a kingdom. He trained him to complete an expansion. From childhood, Alexander absorbed a single premise. Power exists to be exercised forward. Education reinforced this. Not versatility, not balance, but coherence. Heroes were not admired for survival. They were admired for completion. This environment produced an early narrowing. Life was not a field of possibilities, it was a line already drawn. Alexander's thinking showed a consistent pattern. He framed decisions as tests of identity, not strategy. Each moment demanded confirmation of who he already was. Delay felt like self-betrayal. Caution felt like erosion. He did not ask, "Is this wise?" He asked, "Is this consistent?" Once consistency became the metric, retreat ceased to function as an option. Alexander's defining trait was identity lock. When an action aligned with his self-concept, it became psychologically compulsory. To stop would fracture the internal narrative holding him together. This trait created extraordinary decisiveness. It also created fragility. Because identity lock does not allow revision, only continuation. Under pressure, Alexander narrowed further. Uncertainty did not slow him, it compressed him. As territory expanded, so did the internal demand to justify it. Each victory increased the cost of stopping. Momentum was no longer external, it was psychological. The army could have paused, the mind could not. Over time, Alexander's world simplified. There were no flanks, no exits, only forward. Cultural integration, political consolidation, rest. These became distractions from motion. The farther he traveled, the fewer mental paths remained open. Not because they were blocked, but because they no longer fit the story. Crossing into Asia was not the point of no return. Continuing after initial victory was. At that moment, conquest ceased being a campaign. It became a requirement. Stopping would imply that expansion had been optional. His psyche could not tolerate that implication. So the march continued. Not because resistance demanded it, but because coherence did. This clarity was expensive. Isolation increased. Trust narrowed. Contradiction became intolerable. Those closest to him noticed the shift. Flexibility vanished. Interpretation hardened. The cost of certainty was loneliness, but uncertainty felt worse. Alexander could not reverse course because reversal required reinterpretation. To turn back would mean admitting that limits existed outside his control, that the line drawn in childhood could bend. His psychology rejected that. The campaign outlived its purpose because it had become his identity. Discipline can sharpen direction. But when identity replaces evaluation, discipline becomes confinement. Alexander's greatness did not come from limitless ambition. It came from irreversible commitment. The danger is not choosing boldly. It is choosing in a way that removes the ability to stop. Alexander did not fall because he aimed too high. He fell because his mind refused to widen again. The world remembers how far he went. History is quieter about why he could not return, because by then, the decision had already been made.